So I just like last time, I prepared a little presentation. I'm not really gonna use it a lot, but it's just a matter of having something visual as I go on in the session. There you go. Sorry, it was refusing to share. All right, so I'm just going to do this. So hi, everyone. Welcome back to these little meetings, these little weekly sessions. I'm your host, Just Angel. And for today's presentation, for today's meeting, for today's workshop, we are going to talk about being grounded in our identity. As creators, it's extremely important. I feel like as people as well, but as creators mostly, it's extremely important to know who we are and what we're here for in order to create at our best abilities. So yeah, today that's the subject of the workshop. So just a little reminder of the rules again. Um, as always, cameras are your decision. You turn them on, you turn them off. It's your call. It would be best if you turn them on so that we can see each other, try to, talk to each other while looking at each other. But if you cannot turn it on, it's still fine. Microphones are muted unless it's your turn to talk. So that's mostly for the convenience of the workshop. Like if someone is talking, obviously you want them to feel like you're listening. So you turn your microphones on, and then if you need to see something, you can always like turn it on, say something, and then turn it off again. Okay. Third rule, safe space means safe people. You are not obligated to be here, but if you're here, you're obligated to act with kindness. You're obligated to be polite. You're obligated to be a decent human being, basically. Fourth thing, it's a community, not a sermon. When I will be speaking, if ever you feel like there is something you want to say, if ever you want to react, if you want to object, if you want to add on something, you can either raise your hand, you can write a comment, and I'll give you the floor and then you can express yourself. We're not here for a sermon. I'm not here to be a preacher or a teacher. We're here to exchange. And yeah. Fifth thing, this space is free, but it's not cheap. You're here because we are here actually because God allowed this opportunity. But again, if I see that some people are really not taking this seriously or they're busy doing something else, I will be obligated to let you go out because it's just not respectful of everyone's time. If we are there to learn, to practice, and then you're just doing whatever. Okay. That's about that. So before we start, I wanted to do a little something. There is this video that I want to show you guys. Obviously, I'm
broke, guys, so I don't have YouTube Premium, so you will.
I want us to watch the video first because it's going to be very important for our exercises.
So I want us to
later
listen
on
to it,
but I want us to start
and
with
then
the video,
I can show
and
you
then
what
the
I-
video will
what
kind
I
of
want you to do
introduce
for
the
the
workshop,
exercise.
and then will lead us to like our conversation of the day, and we can do a little exercises later on. Okay, so this is the video. I'm gonna play it. Make sure you listen very well. All right, so this, I'm playing it now, but we're gonna need it more like at the end of the workshop. All right. I can remove this. We can go back to this. So, just to recap a little bit about what was said last week, we had three main points. All right. We talked about how you create best when you realize that you are. Okay. The fact that you understand that what you create is a direct result of who you are is very important. The second thing is you were made light to shine for others. So when you are trying to when you get a grasp of light, you automatically want to share it with other people. You automatically want to give it to other people so that they can find their light as well. So that is the second reason why we create. And the third thing was that creativity is not a performance, but it is a lifestyle. That third point is the point that we're gonna dive in more today, because I want us to talk about who we are as creators, that understanding that it's not a performance because it's a direct result of who you are as a person, right? For that, I'm gonna tell you a little story about how I started to create the way I do. Okay. I feel like the people that follow me on my platforms kind of know that already, but most of the things that I post are directly related to who I am as a person, in the sense of my content is a direct mix of my love for music, my love for dance. I did theater when I was a little bit younger, when I was a kid, and then when I was a teenager, a little bit when I was in uni, but I stopped, which allowed me to be as well spoken as I can be right now. And also, I'm very big on journaling, writing, reading, and stuff like that, which has allowed me to kind of like develop my skill for writing storytelling, and sharing it with other people. So when I asked myself the question that I asked you last week is, have you found the light in your life? My answer to the question was yes. And how I knew that I had found the light and that I was sharing it with other people was through the reactions I was having, okay, to the content that I was making. So I would have people tell me, oh, I've been through this and that, and I didn't know how to put words on those things, but your video or your captions have helped me realize this is what I've been going through, this is what I've been feeling. So by receiving those let's say comments, those feedbacks about my comment, I was able to tell, okay, I have been given something, which is peace, which is like peace and love for myself, and I'm working hard to give it to other people, and those feedbacks are showing me that I'm on the right path, right? But then at the same time, it was kind of I needed to make sure that I understood what exactly was the thing that I was giving to people, right? So I had to ask myself, what's the story behind who I am? What's my story? I had to make sure that I knew, okay, I'm sharing this with people, and I understand what exactly it is that I'm sharing, and I understand to which extent people are getting reached, right? So it's very important as a creator to ask yourself those two questions that I put there. What is the story behind who you are, and what are the things that drive you? Because you cannot talk about someone that you never got to know, right? And honestly, I feel like the more you become confident enough with yourself, with who you are, with how you move in the world, with what you do, with the things that you love, okay, you love doing, you love thinking, you love about yourself, about the world, the more you are going to be willing to share it with other people in a more healthy way and better way, let's say. And I feel like the best way for me to know about myself was when I was learning to know about God, because you cannot, a relationship with God is not something that you have just like that, and it's not something that you achieve some way somehow. There are steps that you have to go through. There are things that you have to be willing to do in order to get to know God and to have a relationship with Him, to have a proper relationship with Him. And the more you get to know God, the more you get to know what He says about you, the more you get to know who you are, who you were meant to be, who you were created to be, how you were meant to be shaped and shape the world as well. It's not just about you and yourself and what you do, but it's also about, okay, how are you able to showcase who God has made you to be into the world, right? So that kind of leads you to the second thing that you have to ask yourself is, so I have my story. I have the thing that, okay, this is the story I want to tell myself. This is the story of me. This is the story that I want to give people. And this is who I am, basically. Now you ask yourself, so if that's who I am, how do I tell people that that's who I am? You know, how do I share my light with people? How do I make them understand who they're seeing, what they're seeing, right? So that's when you find yourself in that process where you're like, okay, so for example, for me, it was really a matter of saying, I like writing. It's true. I like music. I like taking videos. I'm really into emotions. So if I were to tell my story, that would be the medium that I would go through, right? You find yourself, you discover your story, you discover what your purpose is, right? Through that relationship that you have with God, you understand, okay, I was meant to be much more than this, for example. I don't know, maybe you grew up in a setting or in an environment where success was not really something that people were not giving you. Like they were like, this person's never gonna make it, or this person is not good at anything, or this person, or maybe the things that you love to do, the things that you like to do, people don't they don't value it, because they are like, what is she even doing? What is he even trying to do, right? So you have to discover what your story and your purpose is, and you have to know, okay, these things that I'm about to tell are my testimony. So what's your testimony? And then once you're set with those 2 points, those two first points, that's when you can go on the third point, which is choosing the right medium, okay? I tried a lot of things. I tried, at first I did just my blog, right? I was writing, but people don't really usually like to read that much. So I was writing and writing, but I was like, I feel like I want to do much more than write, okay? Because I'm someone that has a lot of voices in her head. Like whenever I'm writing, I have the voice in my head that's telling me, that have like the intonations on how I want to read it, on the emotion that I want to pass on and everything. So when you're just reading something, you can't tell. And in my head, I was like, you know what? I want people to feel the emotions. I want people to feel the weight of whatever it is that I'm saying. So I started making videos on YouTube. Like I was making videos on YouTube and I was posting it. And it was, I feel like people liked it because I was doing voiceovers and then I was putting just pictures, but I wasn't satisfied with myself because I was like, oh, that's boring. Just voiceover and pictures? Nah. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna try something else. When I started to travel for university, because I did that when I was a teenager and I was still in Burundi, and I wasn't making that many videos, like I wasn't recording that much, right? And I feel like I was still in that phase of my life where I was trying to shrink myself. I was trying to dim my light, and I was hiding. The way I was hiding, I was like, I don't want anyone to see me. I don't want anyone to, I just don't want to show myself. I want to show what's inside, but I don't want people to see me. And when I quit that mentality, grew up a little, I was like, I want people to see how I view the world. I want people to look at my content and be like, oh, this is the world or life through her eyes. So I decided to make reels. I started making reels, and it was very fun. Not gonna lie, I loved making reels. I loved telling stories. I loved putting a video and some music. And then the thing with Instagram was the captions. I was like, oh my goodness, this is heaven on earth. The captions were everything for me. I was like, okay, you know what? I'm gonna make a video, I'm gonna put some music, and I'm gonna write a whole big caption. Like I was writing, I still do. I write like big blocks on captions, because then it's kind of like a mix of everything I've loved and I've always wanted. You have the music, you have the video, you have the caption, and I feel like you have the emotions in the video with the words and everything. You have that emotion. So for me, it was the perfect fit. I was like, okay, I found my medium, I found my art, I found my craft. And that's how I was able to just give, okay? The fourth point was when it started to get a little bit spicy. It's to be prepared for the reactions you might receive. When I started posting content, I have my childhood best friend, one of my childhood best friends that came to me. Her name is Raisa, and she called me. I remember we had a call, and she was like, I need to talk to you about something. I was like, what is it, girl? And she was like, I wanted to ask you how you are. And I was like, I'm good, I'm fine. And she was like, no, I want to ask you how you are. Are you healed? Like, are you a healed person? Are you fine with yourself? And I was like, yeah, why are you asking me that? And she looked at me and she was like, I honestly am scared, because I know what people's comments can do to you, and I know how they can make you feel, and I've seen what you've started to do. It's amazing, but are you ready? Are you fine? Like, are you steady enough? Are you healthy enough? Are you healed enough to deal with the comments, to deal with the words, to deal with whatever it is that you're going to receive from whatever you're giving? And I sat there for a good minute. I was like, damn, it's true. I haven't asked myself that question. I haven't asked myself if I'm really ready. Because as a creator, you love to give. You love to share. You do want people to get healed when they're consuming whatever it is you're producing. But at the same time, you give, but you get to receive a lot. It can be, you can receive good things, you can receive bad things, you can receive weird things. And people don't tell you, but sometimes you're going to pour yourself out there and give, and it's gonna flop. People are not gonna receive it. People are just gonna be like, this video is meh. This video is not that good. This video is weird. And it can crush you. I have a lot of times where I was sitting in my room and I was like, I love this video, but people don't love it. Why? But then I got to understand, I'm not doing it for them to receive it. I'm doing it because that's a video that I loved. That's something that I wanted to make. I made it. Now, if it finds a person, it's going to find its person. If it doesn't find a person, it's just going to be for my own good, for my own sake. I made it and I'm proud of what I made, right? But it is very important to be prepared for the reactions you're gonna get for what you produce, because people don't necessarily share what's in your heart. Sometimes you can make a video and then people are going to take it completely at the opposite of what you imagined, right? So I was like, that's actually very important to consider, right? So yeah, the next thing I feel was to understand the creative process. Okay, when you know who you are, when you understand who you were meant to be, who you were created to be, the creative process is way easier, because it's very easy to sit down and tell yourself, but I want to do like her, but I want to make like videos like her, I want to I want my sound to sound as good as his voice, I want my images to look as good as her images. You have a lot of things like that where the creative process can feel burdening or overwhelming when you're not very confident and set in who you are. And I feel like something that has helped me was to understand that, you know, my creativity is just a tool. It's a tool. God gave it to me to express the way I see and experience life, right? But it's not for my own sake. It's unique and it's specific to me. It's true. It's something that has everything to do with who I am and not what people prefer. It has everything to do with who I am as a person, my creative process. It has nothing to do with what you expect my content to look like, what you expect my art to be, you know? But at the same time, my content and my art is for God's purpose. It was given to me to do something with it for others, right? So I have to understand that whatever it is that happens in the creative process is not there to disrupt me or distract me, right? There's this quote that I found. It said, "Not all storms come to disrupt you. Some come to clear your path." And I really loved it, and I selected it because it was like, it reminded me that, okay, you know what, your art, it comes from like the deepest corner of who you are, of yourself. And that corner, usually you always explore it when you're at your deepest, at your lowest, when you're the most broken and shattered that you could ever be. Whenever you are at that point, that's when God shows himself to you, and that's when God pulls you out of there. And it's gonna take God's brokenness for you to go and visit that corner and see, okay, who am I? You know, what's inside of me? What's there for me to give? Do I even have anything to give? Do I even have anything to share? You know? And once you have gone there, once you have seen that, then you sit down with yourself and you're like, okay, let me do this thing, right? Your creative process is a direct result of all the things you've went through, and it's a direct result of who you are, right? I personally cannot draw and I cannot paint, right? So it would be very frustrating to me if I was trying to make a painting about what I feel. But if you give me a pen and a paper, I can write to you my feelings. I can draw my emotions through words, right? And once I was able to understand that, because at some point I was very frustrated. My sister, she was good at drawing. My brothers were good at drawing. I've had like papers of what they would draw in school, and I would look at it and I'm like, why am I so bad at drawing? Like, I was frustrated about that. And then one day, I'm sure it was my sister, she was like, I don't know how you do what you do with your words. I don't know. That could never be me. And that's when I understood. And I was like, I've been so frustrated with how good they can draw and how good I can't, that I have not seen that I'm so good at writing and they're not, you know? And I was like, that's my thing. That's my own very little gift from God. And that's what I need to nourish, to cherish. I'm good at making videos. They don't take particular interest in that, you know. I'm good with making sure the beats goes with the transition, with the music, with the words. I'm good with timing the video, with the sound and everything. They're not. And they wouldn't care less, honestly speaking. They have other interests, they have other things they like to do. But stopping to want to go through other people's creative journey has allowed me to be fully aware of my own creative process and to dwell in that and to love that. Okay, with that being said, I didn't want this little presentation to be just me speaking this week. Last week I was doing the speaking because last week obviously I was how is it called? I was doing a presentation, okay? But today I thought, okay, you know what? Let's do a little exercise. So I'm gonna do something. I'm gonna show you the video that where is it? Okay. So I'm gonna go back to the video that I had before. Just a little question. Do you guys see the screen or not?
No. The video?
No.
Just see the process.
Okay, you're not seeing the presentation anymore, right?
We are seeing the presentation. I'm still seeing it, Jay.
Okay, you still see the presentation? That's good. Okay. So here is our little exercise for today.
You created an environment in which I could discover who I really am.
I'm broke, guys, so I don't have YouTube Premium, so you will forgive my the ads, all right? So I want us to listen to it once again, okay? And then I can show you what I want you to do for the exercise. All right. So basically, in the exercise, I'm asking you 3 things, mostly. I want you to, just like I did, okay, I chose a video, okay, for my own self. I chose a video to define you, to showcase your artistic preferences, and to express how you expect this workshop to change you or simply inspire you, okay? If I were to do this exercise, okay, this is how I would kind of like expect you to go through that exercise, okay? I chose this video because, first of all, I really admire Miles Carter. I really admire what he does. I really admire his art. I really admire how he performs. I really admire what he says, how he says it. Because if I were to tell you, for example, oh, you know, in 10 years, if I wanted my craft to look like something, I would want my craft to look like his, right? I don't want to be him. I get inspired by him, okay? The second thing is it defines me because it is deep, it is emotional, it is very into introspection, right? Self-reflection is a video he made about you trying to find happiness into anything else that's not yourself, right? What are you trying to find something outside of yourself, or are you trying to define yourself outside of you, right? And it has been something that I've learned to do, to understand that I don't have to look for things outside of myself, right? God is within me. So it's within me that I look for happiness, for joy, for contentment, for peace, for anything. I am inside of me. So it's inside of me that I look for happiness and peace and joy within myself. Okay? Nobody can give you peace except for yourself. Nobody can give you love if you don't try to do it yourself first, right? So self-reflection defines me because it embodies everything that I believe in, everything that I think it's worth spending your time on or your energy on, and everything. The second point is I chose that video to showcase my preferences because it reunites everything that I love, everything that I find joy in. It's a video. It has images. These particular videos doesn't have videos, but in his other videos, he makes a montages with videos. So it's like a little film, right? So he does that and I love it. There is a script, there is a poem. That's what I do. I write, he writes, I love it. And he puts music to accompany you. It almost sounds like it's almost like a song, but it's not a song, but it's something you can listen to and vibe on. Okay, so that's why I chose it, to showcase my artistic preferences. And the third thing is, how does it kind of represent my expectation? I started this workshop because I have found it difficult to know who I am. I have found it difficult to find myself. I have found it difficult to know myself, and I have found it difficult to love myself. Okay? And it's because I wasn't trying to get to know me. This video reflects my expectation because then it is kind of it shows where I lack in loving myself, knowing myself and everything. But at the same time, it shows that I'm on that journey of, oh, I want to get there. I want to get to a point where whatever he's saying does not reflect who I am anymore. You know, I don't take myself for granted anymore. I don't think that I need to go outside to find happiness anymore, you know? So, with that being said, that is my example. That is my little exercise for you for this week. Okay, I do want to know if there are anyone here who would like to try. Maybe obviously I had more time to prepare. I had a little bit more time to think about what I wanted to show you, because I needed to be able to explain to you my exercise. But is there anyone who has something in mind that would maybe want to try and do the exercise? Again, guys, I repeat it, we're not in a classroom. If you have anything to say, if you have questions, actually, if you have any reactions to whatever we just said, if there is a point that you did not get, that you did not understand, you can let me know. Go ahead. Can we speak in French? Yes, you can speak in French.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Does the representation has to be related to our art? For example, I can choose like a drawing, but my art have to be like that.
I feel like no. because you can see yourself in a way, but your craft is totally different. That's also why it's important to know, okay, um who am I, what I like, and what's the best way to showcase, because sometimes what you like is not related to what you do. So you can do that. Do you want to try?
No, right now, anytime. Anytime.
Okay. Philip was asking if we can speak in French, and yes, you can speak in French. Um, just to be sure, if you speak, I'll do a little resume of what you guys just said for the people who can't understand French. So it's fine. I'll just have to translate a little.
Ok.
Go
Tu
ahead.
veux aimer? Est-ce que tu m'entends?
Ouais, je t'entends.
Ok. Bah, tout d'abord, bonjour à tout le monde. J'espère que tout le monde va bien. Donc, j'ai, disons que même avant de faire l'exercice, il y a eu plus de questionnements qu'autre chose. Parce que,
Mhm.
je vais le dire comme ça vient. Donc, je suis un peu plus vieux. Donc, il y a certaines choses que tu dis, oui, je peux me retrouver dedans, mais aussi que ça amène des questions. Parce que, par exemple, quand on se dit, qui- pour être une lumière, tu dis, on est une lumière pour le monde, mais il y a des fois, on pense, par exemple, on pense être bon dans quelque chose.
Mhm.
Par exemple, qu'on peut être, je vais donner ton exemple, tu fais des vidéos, ils touchent beaucoup de gens, et des fois, on peut se dire, oh, c'est ça, c'est ça pourquoi je suis là, c'est ça pourquoi je suis fait pour. Mais des fois, comment dire, disons qu'on se retrouve souvent euh, à avoir des messages, quelque chose à donner au monde. Ok. Et ce message-là, c'est par rapport à ce que Dieu nous a donné. Ok. Donc, c'était plus par rapport. Et parce qu'il y a des fois où on se pose des questions par rapport à ce qu'on fait ou par rapport à ce qu'on. Comment l'expliquer? Je ne sais pas comment le dire avec les bons mots. Mais c'est plus dans le sens où, parce que je suis bon dans ceci, est-ce que c'est ça que je dois faire?
Hmm.
Je
Je
ne
vois
sais
ce que
pas si
tu
tu
veux dire.
comprends. Donc, juste pour. En tout cas, j'avais cette question-là qui me disait un peu ça. Mais par rapport à l'exercice, je ne sais pas si je suis capable de partager une chanson.
Vas-y.
Je ne sais pas si vous connaissez. Attends,
I can
c'est
share.
Known. Known de Torren Wells.
Okay, I know that song. C'est celle-là, hein?
C'est ça.
Ok.
Voilà. Ils pourront même l'écouter plus tard.
Ok.
Mais c'est plus. Cette chanson m'en parle souvent parce que euh, je, personnellement, elle m'a aidé à savoir qui je suis parce que avant de savoir en quoi je suis bon, en quoi je suis ce que je suis taillé pour faire, j'ai dû apprendre à savoir que Dieu me connaît
Hmm.
et que j'ai besoin de rien, j'ai besoin d'apporter quoi que ce soit. J'ai pas besoin d'apporter quoi que ce soit. J'ai pas besoin d'avoir un talent précis. Il me connaît. À partir du moment où il me connaît, j'ai besoin de le connaître aussi. Et
Ok.
cette chanson elle me parle énormément. Donc, elle me parle par rapport, par rapport à qui je suis, le cheminement que j'ai fait et qui je veux être. Moi, mon art, c'est plus, je suis- j'écris plus et je fais de la photo.
Mhm.
Donc, et la plupart du temps, quand on écrit, c'est pour transmettre quelque chose, une émotion qu'on ressent. Et moi, je me trouve que la plupart des écrivains par rapport aux dons que Dieu nous donne, on est plus des healers. Je ne sais pas si je veux le dire comme ça. Parce que les mots ont un pouvoir de guérir, de raccommoder les cœurs. En tout cas, on est des guérisseurs. Et cette chanson-là, elle me parle plus. Elle exprime tout cela je sais pas. C'est un peu ça. L'émotion qu'elle transfère, ce qu'elle me fait naître en moi, c'est vraiment la personne que je veux être, la personne que je suis censé être. C'est tout.
Merci. That was a very good, c'était un très bon, c'était un très bon exemple of comme what you're supposed to do for the exercise. I'm just going to translate a little what he said for those of you who don't understand French. So for him, for the exercise, he chose Turin Well, known, because it's a song that speaks a lot to him. It's a song that has really helped him understand who he is as a person, has really helped me and help him understand that God loves him, that God knows him, and that it's enough. Just the simple fact of being known and loved by God, it's enough for him, right? And something else is that his art and craft is writing and photography, and he sees writing as something that's there to heal people, right? Because writers are healers. You're here to put words on things that people don't necessarily have words for. They don't know, they don't know how to define what they're feeling, what they're thinking, who they are. So when you're writing, you're healing them because you're giving them what they need, words to describe who they are, what they feel, and all those stuff. And yeah, thank you so much, Philip, for sharing. For me, I feel like, as I was saying, you cannot be a light if you have not found the light yourself, right? That's what we were talking about in the first session, is that it's very important to go to a place where you understand everything. Not everything, but at least you're actively seeking, truth. You're actively looking into yourself and being like, okay, first of all, I feel like the when you, as I said, when you get to know God, when you get to develop a relationship with God, it tells you a lot about yourself. You actually don't need to go that much deep into yourself. You need to go deep into God. When you go deep into God and you find God and you dwell into God's presence, God's truth, God's purpose, all of the things that's related to God and his person and his presence, it's way easier to grasp truths about yourself from God, right? In the sense of, I did not sit down and tell myself, I'm confident in what I say. I'm confident in what I post. I'm confident in this thing that I'm doing, right? When I was reading my Bible, God was telling me about myself. He was telling me that I'm fearfully and wonderfully made. He was telling me that he's inside of me, that I cannot fail because he is inside of me. He was telling me and reminding me that everything that I go through, it's for a greater purpose, a greater plan. So you actually don't need to learn things about yourself. When you learn things about God, God tells you exactly what you need to know about yourself. And that makes it way easier afterwards with how you choose to express yourself to the world, because that's what art is. You are showcasing who you are to the world. You're saying, hey, this is my way of seeing the world. I'm giving it to you. People can either take it or not take it. That's when you also need to brace yourself and be like, okay, if they reject it, then let me not overreact, right? Let me not react in a bad way. But it's extremely important, as you said, to know that you're known by God and that it's enough. To know that you're loved by God and that it's enough. Does anyone else want to try the exercise? Or does anyone else have questions? I don't know. Hi, HB said, for me, I'll need some time. My taste in music is all over the place. It's all right. Yes, no. No one has as much courage as Philip. All right. Well, it's fine. What I was planning is lots of things to say, but I let others talk. Thank you, Philip. Yeah, as I was saying, these exercises, I leave them kind of like at the end for people. Would it be possible to use a movie as my example for the exercise? Yes, you can use whatever. That's why I said it can be a picture, it can be a song, it can be an object. Like even if you want to show me a pen, you do you, okay? It's not something you're doing for the others, like for yourself. If you had you to choose something to define you, to represent you, what would it be? It can be anything really, whatever you feel comfortable with, whatever you feel that is best, then you just do it, okay? That's that. So as I was saying, I put those exercises at the end because my point is we have the discussion, we have the little presentation, and then once I'm done stating my point, quote unquote, I give you something to chew on until the next meeting. Okay. So this exercise, you don't have to do it like very fast or anything. You can take your time. You have a whole week to think about it. Then next week, you can come here. I'll give us some minutes before we start during our little recap. And you guys can give me your answers. Okay. Again, this is not a class. This is not meant there to stress you or anything. I'm trying to help you, okay? So just do it for the sake of your own self, okay? For the sake of your own progress, for the sake of your own love for your art, and share with others. Because again, we're here to share. We're here to help each other out. So if you does it have to be just one thing? No, it doesn't. You can choose two, three things, two, three images, two, three, whatever. It's fine with me. Okay. As long as there are things that are meaningful to you, that's what's important. And then next week we can share. Again, for the questions and all that, if you have more questions, feel free to DM me on Instagram. Feel free to email us anything. You just make sure you contact us if there's anything. We're here for you. We're here to listen. We're here to answer. We're here to clarify if ever. And as always, I'll share a little recap of what was said today, so that you can keep dwelling on what was said today and get ready for next week workshop. I don't know if any of you wants to say something to end this, or if you guys are good. You guys are good?
We're good, thank you.
Next week, not an exam, but somehow can shake the feeling. Thank you, Ren. It's not an exam, guys. It's not supposed to stress you guys. If you feel stressed, it's not the point, okay? This is a safe space, as we said. We are here to be safe with each other, to heal with each other, and to grow with each other. Okay? Thank you again for all of you. Thank you for attending. Thank you for taking time to be here. I know the schedule isn't very helping, but yeah, thank you very much. Have a good week, and may God bless you. May God keep you. See you next week. Bye.